There's a moment in everyone's life when someone crosses a line you never thought they would. They say something, or do something, that hits deeper than words ever should. You feel that sting in your chest, that silent ache between anger and disbelief. And for a second, your mind goes quiet. Not because you don't know what to say, but because you can't believe someone could see your worth and still choose to step on it. Disrespect. It doesn't just hurt your feelings, it shakes your foundation. It makes you question your value, your strength, your calm. But here's the truth most people don't understand. How you handle disrespect defines the kind of power you hold. Because anyone can fight when they're angry, but only a few can stay centered, calm, composed, and unshaken when the world tries to pull them out of character. This isn't about revenge. This is about respect, about protecting your peace, and about learning how to stand tall in a world that tries to make you small. So today, let's talk about what it really means to handle disrespect without losing yourself. 1. The moment you feel disrespected. You ever had someone look you in the eye and disrespect you? Not even loudly. Sometimes it's quiet, a tone, a smirk, a sentence that cuts deeper than it should. And in that moment, something inside you burns. You feel it in your chest. That fire saying, "You can't let this slide." It's one of the most human emotions there is, because disrespect doesn't just hurt your feelings, it challenges your identity. It's someone saying, "You don't matter." And no matter how strong you are, that hits different. But here's where most people lose themselves. They react before they think. See, disrespect wants your reaction. That's the trap. They want to see you lose your cool, to prove to themselves that they can control your emotions. That's what disrespect really is, a power play. And the moment you explode, you hand them that power. You might win the argument, but you lose your peace. And peace, my friend, is more valuable than pride. Think about it. Have you ever argued with someone, said everything you wanted, and still felt drained? That's because anger satisfies the moment, but empties the soul. Now, don't get it twisted. Staying calm doesn't mean staying silent forever. It means being strategic with your energy. Because the truth is, disrespect says more about them than it ever could about you. People who respect themselves don't go around tearing others down. People who are confident don't need to prove it by humiliating someone else. So, when someone disrespects you, understand this. They're showing their weakness, not your worth. That shift in mindset changes everything. Let me give you an example. You're at work. You've been consistent, focused, doing your best. Then one day, your boss snaps at you in front of everyone, throws a sarcastic comment your way. You feel the sting. Your pride screams to clap back. But instead, you breathe. You look them in the eye and say calmly, "I'm open to feedback, but not disrespect." That line right there, it's calm, it's controlled, it's powerful. You didn't lower yourself to their level. You made them rise to yours. Because here's the truth. Real power doesn't scream. It commands. That's why composure is dangerous. It confuses people who expect chaos. When you don't react, they can't predict you. And when they can't predict you, they lose control. Every second you stay calm, you're building something bigger. Self-respect. And self-respect is the armor that keeps disrespect from piercing you. But here's the problem. Most people were never taught how to protect their energy. They were taught to either fight back or shut down. But emotional maturity is knowing when to walk away and when to speak up, without losing yourself in the process. And let's be honest, sometimes the disrespect doesn't come from strangers. It comes from the people closest to you. A friend who makes slick comments, a partner who talks to you like you're less, a family member who constantly belittles your effort. You keep letting it slide because you don't want drama, But what you don't realize is, every time you accept disrespect, you teach people that it's okay. Boundaries aren't rude, they're necessary. Silence in the face of disrespect isn't peace, it's surrender. You can be kind and still firm. You can love people and still say, "That's not how you'll talk to me." Because here's the truth. People will only treat you at the level you demand. And if you don't demand respect, the world will hand you whatever it feels like giving. So when disrespect shows up, don't let emotion lead. Let composure speak. Because nothing is more powerful than a calm soul that refuses to be moved. 2. The hidden cost of accepting disrespect. Here's the truth most people never talk about. Disrespect doesn't just hurt you in the moment, it shapes how you see yourself. Every time you allow it, a small part of you begins to shrink. Your voice gets quieter. Your confidence starts fading. And one day you wake up and realize you're walking on eggshells around people you used to feel comfortable with. That's what happens when you tolerate what should never be normalized. Let's talk about friends. You know that one friend who always makes jokes at your expense? The one who masks insults as humor? They say things like, "Bro, you really think you can pull that off?" Or, "She thinks she's too good for us now." At first, you laugh. You brush it off. But deep down, it stings. Because you know it's not just a joke, it's a small dose of disrespect. And when you don't call it out, it grows. What you tolerate becomes your normal. And the more you laugh at disrespect, the more people think it's okay to give it. I remember someone once said, disrespect doesn't start big, it starts small. It starts as subtle sarcasm, then it becomes public humiliation, then it becomes control. That's how people test boundaries. And when you finally speak up, they say, "Relax, it's not that deep." But it is that deep, because every time you ignore disrespect, you teach people that your peace is negotiable. Let me tell you something real. You can't build healthy friendships, relationships, or partnerships on the foundation of disrespect. Because once respect leaves the room, trust follows right behind it. Now let's talk about family. That's where it gets complicated, because when the disrespect comes from blood, people tell you, "Just let it go, that's family." But family should be where you feel safest, not where you're disrespected the most. And sometimes the ones closest to you use that closeness as permission to mistreat you. The parent who compares you to others. The relative who always doubts your dreams. The sibling who mocks you because you're too different. You start shrinking yourself just to keep the peace. But that's not peace. That's quiet suffering. You can love people and still draw the line. Boundaries don't mean disrespect. They mean self-respect. And then there's relationships. Let's be honest, disrespect in relationships hits differently. Because you give your heart, your time, your trust, and you expect the same energy back. But then, little by little, the tone changes. They start dismissing your feelings. They raise their voice. They talk over you. They gaslight you, make you question what you felt. You tell yourself, maybe they didn't mean it. You forgive, you move on, but the pattern repeats. And slowly, your self-worth starts depending on someone who disrespects you. That's how people lose themselves, not overnight, but piece by piece. Here's something real. Love without respect is manipulation. It's control disguised as care. If someone truly values you, they will protect your dignity even when they're angry. But if someone constantly disrespects you, and every apology is followed by another insult, then they don't love you. They love the power they have over your emotions. The healthiest thing you can do sometimes is walk away. Not to prove a point, but to protect your peace. Because when you walk away from disrespect, you don't lose anything. You reclaim everything. So hear this clearly. If you keep accepting disrespect, people won't stop. They'll just get better at hiding it. They'll disguise it as jokes, as just being honest, as tough love. But the truth is, no love should make you question your value. No friendship should drain your confidence. And no job, no family, no partner, no one on this planet should make you forget who you are. You deserve respect not because of what you do, but because of who you are. And the moment you believe that deeply, you'll stop begging for the bare minimum. 3. Reclaiming your power. Disrespect will always test you. Not because life enjoys breaking you, but because it's trying to teach you where your boundaries begin and end. You can't control how people act, but you can always control how you respond. That's the true definition of strength. Not throwing punches or screaming louder, but staying centered when everything in you wants to explode. Because the moment you lose control, you give the other person the steering wheel to your emotions. When you respond with calm confidence, it changes everything. They expect anger. You give them grace. They expect weakness. You give them silence. They expect you to crumble, but you stand firm. And that throws people off, because nothing confuses a disrespectful person more than someone who refuses to play their game. They feed off your reaction, so when you don't give it, you starve their ego. That's real power. Quiet, controlled, unshakable. Here's the thing. You don't need to match anyone's disrespect to prove your worth. You don't need to clap back at every insult or defend yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You protect your peace by walking in self-respect, not self-defense. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. Just a calm look that says, "You no longer have access to me." Because silence is not weakness. Silence is strategy. It's your way of saying, "I'm done explaining myself to people who are too loud to listen." But silence isn't the only response. Sometimes you do need to speak up, not out of anger, but out of clarity. Disrespect thrives where confusion lives. So when you speak, speak with calm precision. Say it once. Say it clear. "Don't speak to me like that. I'm not comfortable with your tone. That's not something I'll allow." You don't owe anyone an explanation for defending your peace. Your boundary doesn't need to make sense to anyone but you. Here's a reality check. When you start demanding respect, people will test you. Some will call you too sensitive. Some will say you've changed. And you know what? They're right. You have changed. You've stopped letting disrespect slide. You've stopped begging for the bare minimum. You've stopped being the version of yourself that people could easily manipulate. Growth always offends those who benefit from your silence. I've seen it happen so many times. Someone finds their voice, starts standing up for themselves, and suddenly they're labeled difficult. But that label doesn't mean you're wrong. It means you're finally being heard. Don't shrink to make others comfortable. Don't lower your standards just to keep the peace. Because real peace isn't found in pretending everything's fine. It's found in knowing you won't let anyone cross a line with you again. Let me tell you something that might stay with you. Every time you choose dignity over drama, your energy upgrades. You attract better people, better opportunities, better peace. Because the universe responds to how you treat yourself. When you demand respect from the world starts mirroring it back. So no matter what, never forget who you are. Never forget what you've survived. And never forget that silence, composure, and self-respect are your greatest weapons in a disrespectful world. The next time someone disrespects you, don't waste your energy trying to prove a point. Just smile, stay calm, and remember, you don't have to fight for what you already are. You are enough. You are valuable. You are worthy of respect, even if they never give it. And the moment you stop accepting disrespect, Everything in your life begins to change because the world learns how to treat you by watching how you treat yourself. So stand tall, speak calmly, walk away if you must, but never ever lower your standards just to make someone else comfortable. You don't owe anyone your peace. You owe it to yourself to protect it.